This is happening right now, this weekend. The United States is on the brink of war with Iran. Yesterday, President Trump said he's not happy with Iran nuclear negotiations. 3 rounds of talks in Geneva, no deal, no agreement. And now Trump says time is up. The U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem just implemented authorized departure. That's diplomatic language for get out now. Non-essential staff and their families are being evacuated. Germany is evacuating citizens. France is evacuating. UK, Australia, Canada, China all pulling people out of Israel and Iran. Why? Because when embassies evacuate, when allied countries pull their citizens, it means military strikes are imminent, and the military is ready. 2 aircraft carriers in the region, the USS Gerald Ford and the USS Abraham Lincoln. That's 140 fighter jets, thousands of missiles, and over 10,000 sailors. The largest American naval presence in the Middle East since the 2003 Iraq invasion. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is flying to Israel on Monday, that's this coming Monday, to brief Prime Minister Netanyahu on potential military action. Not to negotiate, not to discuss, to brief, meaning the decision has already been made. Trump gave Iran a deadline, 10 to 15 days maximum, to agree to nuclear restrictions. That deadline is now, and Trump just said he's not happy with their response. So this weekend, Saturday or Sunday, could be the weekend America strikes Iran. This is Strategic Signal Report. I'm Sarah Mitchell. Over the next 11 minutes, I'm breaking down exactly what Trump said, what the military is prepared to do, why embassies are evacuating, what Iran has threatened in response, what Marco Rubio is telling Israel, and whether this leads to full-scale war or something short of it. This is the most dangerous moment in the Middle East in years. Let's go. Let me show you exactly what President Trump said yesterday that set off alarm bells across the world. Trump was asked by reporters about the status of Iran nuclear negotiations. Here's what he said. We've had 3 rounds of talks in Geneva. Good people on both sides trying to work something out. But I'm not happy. Iran is not serious. They want to keep enriching uranium. They want to keep developing missiles. They want to keep funding terrorism. So we're running out of time here. Then Trump said this. Iran has about 10 to 15 days maximum to make a decision. Either they agree to real restrictions, no nuclear weapons, no ballistic missiles, no funding Hezbollah and Hamas, or we take action. And that action will be far greater than what we did in June. What he did in June 2025, let me remind. US strike 3 Iranian nuclear facilities, destroyed them, set Iran's nuclear program back years, killed Iranian scientists and Revolutionary Guard members. Iran vowed revenge but never followed through. Now Trump is threatening something far greater. What does that mean? According to reporting from the New York Times and the Washington Post, U.S. military planners have prepared 3 escalation options. Option 1, limited strikes on Iran's remaining nuclear facilities, similar to June 2025 but hitting more targets: research labs, centrifuge facilities, heavy water reactors. Option 2, expanded strikes including Iranian military bases, Revolutionary Guard facilities, and missile sites. This goes beyond nuclear facilities to degrade Iran's ability to respond. Option 3, full campaign targeting Iran's economic infrastructure: oil refineries, ports, power plants. This would cripple Iran's economy and could trigger broader regional war. Trump hasn't said which option he's chosen, but the fact that the military is ready, that carriers are in position, that embassies are evacuating, that tells you he's picked something, and it's happening soon. Now let me explain why embassy evacuations are the clearest signal that military action is imminent. Yesterday, the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem issued an authorized departure order. That means non-essential staff and their families are authorized to leave Israel voluntarily. The embassy remains open, but it's operating with skeleton crew. Why Jerusalem and not Tehran? Because the U.S. doesn't have an embassy in Iran. We haven't since 1979. So the embassy at risk from Iranian retaliation is in Israel, Iran's primary target. But it's not just the U.S. evacuating. According to reporting from Reuters and Al Jazeera, Germany issued a travel warning for Israel and urged citizens to leave immediately. France chartered flights to evacuate French nationals from both Israel and Iran. United Kingdom raised its threat level for Israel too high and advised against all travel. Australia, Canada, and Japan issued similar warnings and began evacuating citizens. China, and this is significant, evacuated Chinese nationals from Iran and closed its consulate in Tehran temporarily. When China evacuates from Iran, that tells you something major is coming. China has close economic ties with Iran. They buy Iranian oil. They're not going to disrupt that relationship unless they have intelligence that US strikes are imminent. And here's the other signal: insurance companies, according to the Wall Street Journal. Major insurers have suspended coverage for flights over Iranian airspace effective immediately. Airlines are already rerouting. That doesn't happen because of vague threats. That happens when military planners have given specific strike windows. All of this points to the same conclusion: attacks are coming. Probably this weekend, possibly Saturday night local time when Iranian air defenses are least alert. Let me show you the military pieces that are now in place, because this buildup has been happening quietly for weeks. USS Gerald Ford Carrier Strike Group, deployed to the eastern Mediterranean in late January. The Ford is the newest and most advanced US aircraft carrier. It carries 75 fighter jets including F-35C stealth fighters. It's accompanied by 2 guided missile destroyers and 1 guided missile cruiser, each loaded with Tomahawk cruise missiles. USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group, deployed to the Arabian Sea in early February. The Lincoln carries 65 fighter jets including F-18 Super Hornets. It's also accompanied by destroyers and cruisers with Tomahawk missiles. Combined, that's 140 fighter jets and over 300 cruise missiles ready to launch. That's more firepower than was used in the opening hours of the Iraq War in 2003. B-2 stealth bombers. According to NBC News, the Pentagon has moved B-2 stealth bombers to Diego Garcia U.S. military base in the Indian Ocean. About 3,000 miles from Iran, B-2s can carry massive bunker buster bombs designed to penetrate underground nuclear facilities. They can fly missions that last 30-plus hours without refueling. Ground forces. The U.S. has increased troop presence at bases in Qatar, Kuwait, and Bahrain. These are not invasion forces. This is not Iraq 2003, but they're there to defend bases if Iran retaliates against US facilities in the region. Missile defense systems. The U.S. has deployed additional Patriot missile batteries and THAAD systems to Israel, Saudi Arabia, and UAE. These are designed to intercept Iranian ballistic missiles if Tehran launches them at US allies. All of this costs billions of dollars to deploy. You don't move to carrier strike groups and stealth bombers halfway around the world unless you're about to use them. Now let's talk about Marco Rubio's trip to Israel on Monday, because this tells us what comes after the strikes. Secretary of State Rubio is flying to Tel Aviv on Monday. He's meeting with Prime Minister Netanyahu and Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. According to the State Department, the purpose is to coordinate regional security responses. That's diplomatic speak for, we're about to hit Iran. Here's what you need to know. Here's what we need from you. What does the U.S. need from Israel? 2 things. First, Israel's advanced air defense systems to intercept Iranian missiles that might be launched in retaliation. Iron Dome, David's Sling, Arrow 3, these systems can shoot down ballistic missiles. The U.S. wants Israel on high alert to protect both Israeli cities and U.S. bases in the region. Second, Israel's intelligence. Israel has penetrated Iranian networks deeper than any country. Mossad has agents inside Iran. Israel probably knows exactly where Iranian leaders are at any given moment. If the U.S. is going to strike, Israel's intelligence makes those strikes far more effective. But there's also what Israel wants, and what Israel wants is for the U.S. to finish the job. Netanyahu has been pushing Trump to take out Iran's nuclear program completely, not just set it back, eliminate it. Netanyahu wants the U.S. to do what Israel couldn't do alone: destroy Iran's ability to ever build a nuclear weapon. If Rubio is flying to Israel to coordinate, that suggests Trump is at least partially giving Netanyahu what he wants. The strikes will be significant. They'll be designed to cripple Iran's nuclear program for years, maybe decades. And Netanyahu will support that publicly. He'll probably even offer Israeli jets to participate, though the U.S. doesn't need them. It's symbolic. It's Israel and America acting together against a shared threat. Now let's talk about what Iran is saying, because Iran is not backing down. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said this yesterday: if the United States attacks Iran, every American base in the region becomes a legitimate target. We have the missiles, we have the drones, and we have allies throughout the Middle East who will respond. That's not empty rhetoric. Iran has ballistic missiles capable of hitting US bases in Iraq, Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, and UAE. Iran has over 3,000 ballistic missiles. They're not all accurate, but if you launch hundreds at a base, some will hit. Proxy forces in Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and Yemen. Hezbollah in Lebanon has over 100,000 rockets and missiles pointed at Israel. Houthi rebels in Yemen have already attacked ships in the Red Sea. If Iran orders them to strike US targets, they will. The Strait of Hormuz, 20% of the world's oil passes through this narrow waterway between Iran and Oman. Iran has threatened to close it before. If they actually do it mining the strait, attacking tankers' oil prices could double overnight. Global economy would crater. So when Iran threatens retaliation, it's real. The question is how much retaliation Trump is willing to accept. If Iran launches missiles at U.S. bases and kills American soldiers, Trump will hit back harder. That escalates. Iran hits again. Us hits again. Before you know it, you're in a full-scale war. But if Iran's response is limited symbolic strikes that miss targets, proxy attacks that cause minimal damage, Trump might declare victory and stop. Iran saves face. Us accomplishes its goal. War is avoided. The danger is miscalculation. One side hits harder than the other expects. Casualties mount, public pressure builds, and suddenly, you're in a war nobody wanted, but nobody knows how to stop. Vice President Vance spoke about Iran yesterday in Cincinnati. Here's what he said. The president has made clear, Iran cannot have nuclear weapons. Period. We tried negotiations. We gave them a chance. Now it's up to what they do and what they say in the next few days. If they make the right choice, great. If they don't, the president will do what's necessary to protect American security. Notice the phrasing, what they do and what they say in the next few days. That suggests the deadline is real. Days, not weeks, not months, days. Vance also said this, Iran should not test us. President Trump has shown he's willing to use military force when it's necessary. He did it in June. He'll do it again if he has to. And this time it'll be more than just nuclear facilities, That confirms the military is looking at broader targets, missile sites, Revolutionary Guard bases, maybe even oil infrastructure. Vance is messaging to Iran, back down now, or it gets worse, much worse. But Iran's leadership, Supreme Leader Khamenei and the Revolutionary Guard, they don't back down to American threats. They see backing down as weakness. They'd rather fight and lose than surrender without a fight. So the chances that Iran suddenly agrees to Trump's demands in the next 48 hours? Almost zero, which means strikes are coming. So what happens this weekend? What should you be watching for? Saturday night into Sunday morning, Middle East time, that's Friday night into Saturday morning in the U.S. is the most likely strike window. Why? Because that's when Iranian air defenses are traditionally less alert. Sabbath in Israel, weekend in the Arab world, people are less prepared. If strikes happen, here's what you'll see. First wave, cruise missiles from ships and submarines. Tomahawks will hit Iranian air defense systems, radar sites, command centers. This clears the way for aircraft. Second wave, B-2 stealth bombers dropping bunker buster bombs on underground nuclear facilities. These bombs weigh 30,000 pounds and can penetrate hundreds of feet of reinforced concrete. Third wave, F-35 stealth fighters hitting secondary targets, research labs, missile sites, Revolutionary Guard facilities. The whole operation will take 2-4 hours, maybe 200,300 strikes total. Trump will address the nation from the Oval Office explaining why it was necessary. Iran will respond within 24-48 hours, probably missile strikes on US bases in Iraq or Qatar, probably Hezbollah rocket attacks on northern Israel, possibly attacks on tankers in the Persian Gulf. The question then becomes, does Trump hit back again? Does this become a multi-week campaign? Or does he declare the nuclear threat neutralized and stop? Oil prices will spike Monday morning. Stock markets will drop. Gold will surge. Everybody will be asking, is this a one-time strike or the beginning of a war? And the answer is, we won't know until Iran responds. This could end in 72 hours, or it could spiral into something far bigger. Let me put this in context. This is not the first time Trump and Iran have been on the brink. In January 2020, during Trump's first term, the U.S. killed Iranian General Qasem Soleimani with a drone strike in Baghdad. Iran vowed revenge. They launched ballistic missiles at a U.S. base in Iraq. Over 100 U.S. soldiers suffered traumatic brain injuries. But Trump didn't hit back. Iran signaled they were done. The crisis de-escalated. This is different. This isn't about one general. This is about Iran's entire nuclear program. This is about forcing Iran to give up their pathway to a bomb. You can't do that with one airstrike. You need a sustained campaign. And Trump knows that if he strikes and Iran doesn't back down, he's committed to finishing what he started. That could mean weeks of airstrikes. That could mean hitting oil refineries and crippling Iran's economy. That could mean a regional war involving Israel, Saudi Arabia, Iran, and possibly even Russia or China getting involved. Diplomatically, this is the most dangerous moment in the Middle East since the Iraq War, and it's happening right now. President Trump is on the brink of war with Iran. He's not happy with nuclear talks. He says Iran has 10-15 days maximum to agree to restrictions. That deadline is now. The U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem is evacuating non-essential staff. Germany, France, UK, Australia, Canada, China all pulling citizens out of Israel and Iran. 2 aircraft carriers are in position with 140 fighter jets and 300 cruise missiles. B-2 stealth bombers are at Diego Garcia ready to strike. Marco Rubio flies to Israel Monday to brief Netanyahu. Iran has threatened to hit every U.S. base in the region if attacked, and this weekend could be the weekend it happens. What do you think? Is Trump right to strike Iran? Will this lead to full-scale war or just limited strikes? Drop your honest take in the comments. Subscribe to Strategic Signal Report for updates as this develops. If strikes happen this weekend, we'll cover it immediately. For Strategic Signal Report, I'm Sarah Mitchell. The clock is ticking, the military is ready, and the world is watching. We'll see you in the next briefing.